Hey guys, welcome back to another one. I'm Lindsay. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are back, hey, what you doing? How you doing? So let's just get right into what we're gonna do in this video today. So, first of all, what prompted this video? As I stated in my August wrap-up, I wasn't 100% obsessed with my reading performance last month, and I'm not in a slump. It has nothing to do with not having the motivation to read. Last month in particular, it was more of like a time constraint and actually like more of like an energy constraint, meaning we were so busy in the month of August that I either didn't have enough time to read as much as I wanted to, or when it got to the end of the day and I had time to read, I was literally exhausted. And unfortunately, reading sometimes does, when I'm already tired, like kind of put me right to sleep. So if you're starting reading at 9 p.m. and falling asleep at 9:30 p.m. or your eyes are drifting closed at 9:30, you're not going to get that many books read. So last month I only read 4 books, and I average usually between like 6 and 8. So it was kind of not a poor quality reading month, but a poor quantity reading month. So I think the ultimate goal for this month and the goal of this challenge is to up my books to get me back into that like 6 to 8 book a month range, if not more. I currently, if you watched my last video, have 10 books sitting on my September TBR that I don't have to get to, but I'd like to get to. So if I could hit that 10 book mark, that would be great. However, I really am a challenge goal-oriented person. So I think if anything is going to motivate me, it's going to be a challenge. And once again, if you watched my last video I put up, which was my September TBR, I used this program on my iPad that lets a randomly generated wheel choose the shelves, and then Siri choose the book number to generate a completely random group of books for me to read this month, which was great. I loved it. Some of the books that it selected were books I probably would have gone to in September anyways, but other books were probably not ones that I would have like specifically prioritized for this exact month. And I loved that randomization. So I said, why wouldn't we just continue on with the spin wheel, use it, and choose how many hours per day I'm going to read for the next 5 days. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I am using the exact same program that I used to generate my TBR wheel. It is called spinthewheel.app. I actually love this, and I'm going to put a poster up, or a poster. I mean, I could put it on a poster, I guess, but I'm going to put a picture up right here to show you guys what the wheel looks like. Basically, for taking a look at my schedule and taking a look at my kids' schedule and my husband's schedule, I think for the first time I do this, a realistic but still challenging goal for me would be reading between 1 and 4 hours a day for the next 5 days. So as you can see, I put 1 through 4 on my randomly generated spin wheel. I repeated it twice, and we are going to let the wheel tell me how much I'm reading for the next few days. Oh, Amazon's here. Can you hear the Amazon truck? I feel like the Amazon guy and I are best friends. He's here like literally every day. So anyways, okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and see how much I'm reading this week. Ready? One. Guys, that is so doable. We're just going to ease right into this challenge. We're going to read for 1 hour today. Full disclosure, I've already read for an hour today, but I'm saying starting now, which is currently like already 1:42 in the afternoon, I'm only going to have to read for 1 additional hour today. That is so doable. I'm glad we're kind of like starting slow. So let's talk about what I'm reading and where we're going to go from here. I do have to run to the store with my father in a minute. He needs a new coffee machine. So clearly coffee is my area of expertise and he needs my help. So I am running to the store with him. So I'm glad this isn't like a 4-hour day, but I'm currently reading The Hunger Games on my Kindle. I'm about 25% of the way through it already. I'm really liking it. So I'm going to go ahead and start probably right now while I'm waiting for my father to get here. And I will let you know when we're finished with our hour.
In the morning when I wake and the sun is coming through, oh, you fill my lungs with sweetness and you fill my head with you. Shall I write it in a letter?
Just like that, we are done with our hour. I'm going to be honest with you though, I'm not quite like tired yet, so I am probably going to like go upstairs, go and get in bed. I'll probably read just a little bit more in bed before I fall asleep, but let's go over where I read from. So on my Kindle, I was on page 70 at the start of the hour, and I think I was like 23% in or something like that. Now I'm on page 185. So I read 115 pages in the hour and I'm 41% of the way through the book on chapter 14. So that was some really, really good progress in only an hour. Like I said, I'm probably going to read just a little bit more in bed. I usually I try to avoid like laying down while I read because it makes me so sleepy. So even though I'm not feeling that tired right now, I know if I go get in bed, I'm probably going to end up passing out. So that's it for me for filming tonight, but I will catch you in the morning when we spin our wheel again and we figure out how long we're going to be reading for tomorrow. Okay, it's officially the next morning and we have to figure out how long we're going to be reading for today. So let's go ahead and get our wheel opened and screen recording. We're going to wait the 3 seconds because I'm a professional. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. It really said, just take it easy the first couple of days. Another one. That is more than doable. I read for almost 3 hours yesterday, over my 1 hour, so that is more than doable. We are going to read for another hour today. Okay, it is now the next day, and I didn't film much yesterday because we didn't really do a ton. I kind of just like read chapters here and there, but I did read for the hour. I did make it to 64% of Hunger Games. I did not go over my hour at all because yesterday was just kind of crazy. Today potentially could be a little bit busy. We do have 2 soccer games for the boys and we're waiting to hear. It's been really, really wet here in Connecticut, so we're waiting to hear if the fields get like rained out, if they're too wet. But in the meantime, let's find out how long we're going to be reading for today. So, could I have prepped this beforehand? Sure, but that wouldn't be me. Okay, make sure we're screen recording. Okay, here we go. Oh no. 3 hours. The busiest day and the most reading. But that's okay. We can do that. So today we will be reading for 3 hours. I'm actually going to go start now. I'm going to drink some of my coffee, read for a little bit, wait to hear what's going on with soccer, and then we'll figure out the rest of our day and how we're going to handle this. So it's going to be a 3-hour reading day. It's actually not that bad. We are currently at a very rainy soccer game for my son, and I officially am not getting out of the car because that's absolute nonsense, but I have an hour and 44 minutes left on the clock and only about 10 pages left of the Hunger Games, so let's go ahead and bang that out while they warm up.
My body feels okay. Yeah. It's a new day for good times. Yeah, yeah. Da, 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 yeah. Da, yeah. Da, 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 yeah. Da, yeah. Flying like I'm weightless, yeah, I'm losing all my senses, and it's making it impossible to die. Everything's in motion, yeah, I'm lost in the commotion, and I've never ever felt so freaking high.
Okay, full disclosure, this book is kind of freaking me out. I don't even know what time it is. It's 11 o'clock, right? And my kids are asleep, my husband's at work, and I'm sitting down in my in-law apartment, like downstairs, reading. And I have like my Harry Potter music on, and I had to turn the noise canceling off. I always read with my noise canceling on. I had to turn it off because I kept being like, and like afraid, like if a killer's in my house, would I hear him? So, I mean, I will say I'm only like, I think I'm like 40 something pages in. And if you've watched any of my previous reviews, I have kind of like a complicated relationship with mystery thrillers. I'm not always the biggest fan because most of the time I just don't find them convincing. Like, I just think the characters make silly decisions, or they're kind of cringy, or they're kind of lame, or they're kind of like gratuitously violent on the other spectrum. And I just think that I have really high standards for mystery thrillers, and they're hard to meet. This one, 40 or 50 pages in, is kind of like freaking me out. Like, I keep like checking over my shoulder. I actually think I might like switch around because my stairs to like upstairs and like my giant sliding doors out to our pool area is like right there. And I think that's just a little crazy. So far, so good. I have an hour and 6 minutes left, and that's going to be no problem because I'm like wide awake and my husband gets home from work in a little while, so I'll read for my hour and then I'll make sure he eats and stuff like that. But so far, so good. It's actually kind of freaking me out, and it's making me check over my shoulders because I'm convinced there's a murderer in my house now. So far, so good. Oh my god, that's so hot. Ooh, okay, not ready yet. We're gonna come back to that. Good morning, guys. It's the next morning. I did complete my 3 hours yesterday, and actually that was like a really, 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 really good day of reading. Like, that wasn't a challenge at all. I just had a really good reading day yesterday. So I did finish The Hunger Games, like you saw, and I did start The Last Word by Taylor Adams, as you saw, and by the time I went to sleep, I got 112 pages in. I'm on chapter 10. This book freaked me the hell out last night. literally freaked me out. Checking over my shoulder. I'm really, really, really liking it so far. So I'm really excited to pick this back up today. And honestly, it's reading really quickly because I'm really into the story, and the writing is really easy to read. So I'm thinking I could probably finish this today, which is crazy. But let's see how long we are going to be reading for today. Okay. Screen record. Wait for 3 seconds. This is going to be a theme. And ready? Spin. 1 hour. Oh, I can easily do that today. I'm actually going to do more than that today. Let's stop this recording. I'm actually going to do more than that today, but that's really cool. All right, awesome. I definitely couldn't finish this book in an hour, but I'm going to read more than that today because it is an overcast, rainy, gloomy day here in Connecticut, so it is the perfect day to sit inside and read. I have a little bit of work to do on the computer, but not that much. So today is going to be a day where my main focus is reading for an hour, obviously. Bigger than that, finishing the last word and moving on to the next book on my TBR. So let's go get started. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that it's pretty out again. So tired of rain. So we are in the backyard and it is now Tuesday morning. I believe this is the last morning that we're going to do this. So let's go ahead and find out how long we are going to read for today. Let's open it up. We have our little handy dandy wheel. Screen record. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Of course. We would get 4 hours on the busiest day of this challenge yet, where I'm legitimately being like, do I even have 4 hours? All the calm days, 1 hour. The busy day, 4 hours. That's okay, actually. I'm not too upset about it because I am literally loving the book that I'm reading so far, and I went way over my hour yesterday just because I physically could not put this book down. So I'm really excited to finish it today, and then we'll figure out what we're going into next. But I still am I believe I'm on page like 200 of The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and I'm going to save all of my thoughts for the end, but I'm really liking it so far. So 4 hours actually shouldn't be a challenge today. However, we are going to do a little intermission because my amazing husband, he is booked and busy, would like to go grab some wine and maybe like a charcuterie board or like some snacks or something before we pick up the boys. So I'm going to take you with us to our winery here in town that we love so much, and we will see you there.
Blinking, you were beautiful, just like a flower. I could walk with you for 1,000,000 miles and my feet would not get tired. Where you go, I'll go, winter or summer. I don't care the seasons change, 'cause darling, I'll stay right here with you.
jump scare. We have our George Washington hair back in full effect. It is really, really rainy and gloomy out today, and today is going to be a day where like I just stay home, veg out, relax, and read. So I did complete my 4 hours yesterday, and I actually finished The Last Word by Taylor Adams, so I'm completely done with this. Once again, I'm going to reserve my thoughts until the end of the video, which actually today is the last day that I'm doing this, so should be up in a couple of days. And I picked up Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. So if you remember me choosing my TBR, or randomly choosing my TBR, I actually got Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. And I had like a brief awareness that Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and Serpent and the Wings of Night all were in the same like world. There's interconnected characters, it's the same world, the Crown of Nyaxia series, but I wasn't sure if I should read this first. So I put it out there, and I basically got told that although you don't have to, they can stand on their own as separate series. There are parts of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror that build on some things that you read in this series. So I made the executive decision to start with Serpent and the Wings of Night instead of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, because I heard building on the information that you get in this series makes Slaying the Vampire Conqueror a more immersive experience. And also, if you look at their publication dates, this was published like a year before Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. So it not only makes more sense with the immersion of the story, but it also makes more sense chronologically that this was published first, so I'm going to read it first. So I did start Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, and we are going to continue on with that today. But let's do our spin wheel for the day to see how long we are going to be reading. Oopsie daisy. All right, there you go. Okay, so I'm starting my screen recorder. Here we go. We're going to finish the week on an easy note. We're going to read for 1 hour today. I've probably already done that, so it should not be a problem, but we're going to read for at least, obviously, another hour today at the bare minimum. So I'm going to go ahead and eat some lunch. My husband's at the gym. My kids don't come home from school for another hour, hour and a half. So I'm going to continue on with The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I'm going to take you along with me. And then we will regroup for what I finished in the last 5 days and my thoughts on them.
You were beautiful, just like a flower. I could walk with you for 1,000,000 miles and my feet would not get tired. Where you go, I'll go, winter or summer. I don't care the seasons change, 'cause darling, I'll stay right here with you.
And so we come to the end of our week. I'm so happy I did this challenge. This was so much fun. I think I'm officially addicted to this random spin wheel because it just adds an element of like mystery and excitement to picking your TBR or to choosing how long you read for the week. And I just found it fun. And that's what reading should be. And that's what reading at least is to me. It's just fun. And I love it. I think I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to end up finding 100 different ways to use this silly little spin wheel in my life for the rest of time, I think. So I hope you guys like it because I'm totally hooked on it. So let's talk about what we did this week. So we ended up finishing 2.25 books in 6 days. That's amazing. So basically I said at the beginning of this that I had a kind of rough quantity reading month last month, and my goal was to get back to 6 to 8 books a month, which was what my typical reading month had been. If I read 2.25 book every single week all month, that puts me right back where I'm supposed to be. So I think this really did help me accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish. So let's quickly go over what I read and give you my thoughts on them. So the first book I started with this week was The Hunger Games. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I actually really, really liked this. Now, let's go ahead and say it, okay? This is kind of like a YA dystopian. Was it anything that's going to alter your life forever? No, probably not. At 35, it's probably not going to be one of my top books of the year. But was it fun for what it was? Absolutely. Did I enjoy my time reading it? Absolutely. Was it good writing? It really was. And I liked it. I liked all the characters. I liked the banter. I loved the pacing. You didn't really ever find yourself in a lull of slow writing where you were kind of bored or you were tempted to like flip forward. It was constant action. It was really entertaining. I really, really liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the plot twists. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I feel like at this point everyone knows what Hunger Games is. But basically what it was about was this girl in this dystopian society where America has fallen and the new country is broken up into 12 different districts. And the capital is like the elites, these, the one percenters, if you will. These elites within the government, and every single, I believe it's every year, they select a female and a male tribute from each of the 12 smaller districts to battle in this competition, basically to entertain the elites at the Capitol. The Capitol can watch it. I'm pretty sure it's almost like a 24-hour live stream, and they could watch it, and it's basically a battle to the death. And the female main character, Katniss, her younger sister, her 12-year-old sister, is chosen as one of the tributes, and she ends up stepping up to take her spot so that her 12-year-old sister, who is like the love of her life, doesn't have to go compete in these games. It was really, really good. Am I going to continue on with the series and read I believe Mockingjay is the second one? I absolutely am. I really enjoyed my time. So, Hunger Games, 4 stars. I liked it, and I will be moving on with the series. So after Hunger Games, let me put this down right here. We moved on to The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. I loved this. Honestly, I think this is the highest rating I've ever given, like a mystery thriller. And comment below, was it just me? Or I haven't seen anybody talk about this, and I've never seen this opinion from anybody else that I've seen read this, but this is definitely a mystery slash thriller, but could you almost lump this in as a little like baby horror? This had horror elements to me. Nothing crazy, nothing super, well, I mean, there were some graphic parts, maybe a little slashery. But would this be like a baby horror book to anybody else? Because I think it falls into that category for me. Mystery thriller, little elements of horror thrown in there. If anybody has watched my previous videos, I talk a lot about how I have a complicated relationship with mystery thrillers and probably horror. My problem with most mystery and thrillers is, in order to fully enjoy them, I feel like the reader really does have to, on a lot of cases, suspend a healthy amount of belief, right? You do have to be willing to kind of go into this like space where you're willing to accept a certain amount of lack of realism, right? And I really struggle with that specifically in mystery thrillers because so much of the enjoyment of the book for me is taken away when I like kind of roll my eyes at a stupid part or disagree with something a character does or find something cringy and I just kind of roll my eyes and I'm like, that would never happen. Like it would never go down this way. Or like when the killer gets away in some unrealistic way and I'm sitting there being like, that's just dumb. You know, like I struggle with that. That takes away a lot of the enjoyment for me, and it happens so often in mystery thriller, the mystery thriller genre. What I really liked about this book is that didn't really happen much. This was fairly realistic. I mean, every once in a while you got a little bit like, would I have done that? Probably not. But you were able to justify it with the fact that the main character isn't you, that I think she just made a different decision. But at the end of the day, it wasn't stupid. Like at the end of the day, it wasn't one of those things where you were like, you deserve what you get, because like who does that, right? I felt it was pretty realistic. There weren't a lot of like holes in the plot, these convenient holes that allow this killer to do basically whatever they want and have free reign. The holes were relatively filled in to the point where you were like, oh, like she really doesn't have a way out. Like this is legitimately scary, and it got me. Like the reason why I say it's baby horror is because when I was reading this, you saw me, I was legitimately like looking over my shoulder, freaked out, had to turn off my noise canceling because I was convinced there was a murderer in my house. Like it got me. I really liked it. A 4.5 on a mystery thriller for me is almost unheard of. Is unheard of. I don't know that I've ever given a mystery thriller a 4.5 stars. The reason why it wasn't a 5 stars was there was a little bit of it where I was just kind of like, would I have done that? Do I think that's realistic to what people would have done or how they would have handled it? Like, no. Like there were parts, but in fairness, in order for it to be an entertaining book, not everything can be 100% realistic. So it is a 4.5 stars. It was really, really, really good. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm happy I read this. This might go. So far, this is my top thriller, but just for how surprised I am that I actually found a mystery thriller that I really enjoyed, this might go in one of my top reads of the year because of the rating, how much I enjoyed it, how much it freaked me out, which is ultimately the goal, and how much I loved it. So after I finished The Last Word, I kind of debated on what I was going to do, and what you had seen on my TBR was Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. Well, all of you told me that I should start with the Crowns of Nyaxia series before I read that, so I picked up Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I am currently chapter 16, 133 pages into this book, and guys, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. What I'm enjoying the most about this is Carissa Broadbent's writing. I think that I might be a huge fan. This is my first book that I've read of hers, and I absolutely love her writing. I find it so digestible. It's so easy to understand. This is a dense book. It's a big book. It has really tiny writing, but honestly, I don't find it daunting at all. Her writing is just so enjoyable and simple. And furthermore, if anyone out there watching reads a lot of fantasy, you know that one of the most intimidating things about fantasy is the world building, right? The fact that these incredibly brilliant creative writers, they can't just tell a story, they have to create an entire world, and then they have to explain it to you, and they have to introduce these very complicated characters and all of their backstories in this new world and in this new geographical landscape that they have to describe because you wouldn't know it. And she does that so well. I mean, so far there's been actually very little world building, but you understand it. It's just, I can't say enough. I'm enjoying the story. I'm loving the characters. Her writing is great. Now I'm only, I believe it's like, according to Goodreads, I'm only like 23% of the way in. So that could change at any minute. But up until this point, 133 pages in, I'm loving this. And it's gotten to the point where like, when I'm doing other things, I'm excited to get back and open it up because I want to see what happens. We just got introduced to a character that I think might be like an enemies to lovers. Possibly. I'm seeing like hints of competitiveness and maybe possibly like hints of an interest. So that's getting really interesting that the romantasy element is going to pick up because that's my favorite genre of book. But basically what this is about is our main character, and I'm the worst at main character names. Araya, I believe is how you pronounce it. I'm going to put it right here on the screen, but I've been pronouncing it Araya in my head. She is a human girl who was adopted by the king of the vampires in this one area of their world. And basically what happens is that the goddess of this realm runs a series of trials every 100 years. And whoever wins the trials gets a wish of their choice granted. And I'm not going to say too much besides for that because Oraya's wish is basically life and death. If she enters the trials and wins and is granted a wish, it's going to change the course of her life within this realm as a human girl living amongst vampires. I'm not actually even up to the point where I entirely understand her wish and what's going to happen, but I'm so excited to find out. I really, really love this so far. So that's it, guys. That's the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're new here, I am so excited that you found my channel. I hope you really love it. I have a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and if you are returning, you're the best. It makes my heart so happy. We've had a really big growth on the channel in the last week, and I can't tell you, I don't want to get like sappy, but like every single time one of you subscribes and then like comments that you're enjoying the videos, it makes me giddy. I'm just so excited, and I'm so happy to have finally found a community where I can talk about books, and you guys love talking about books and hearing about books and reading and things like that. So thank you so much. I'm really eternally grateful. My heart is very full. And on that sappy, emotional note, I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.